How you doing, everyone? It's Kevin. I'm back with another video. If you guys been keeping up with my arbor press here, we're going to be making the two pieces for our stamps, for our leather stamps. We're going to be sticking them. We're going to get a couple pieces of metal, throw them in the lathe, and see if we can get them to work in this arbor press. The only problem that I had was I know that I can't put the ball bearing and the spring inside here to actually hold the stamp from coming off, but I think I have an idea that I might be able to use like an O-ring or a rubber band and cut a groove in there and be able to stick it in there and maybe hold it into place. But we'll see as we go here. Now we're going to be using a little bit bigger stock for this one here because I want the outside edge of this stamp to be able to rest on the big piece up here, so it gives it better push. So I'll show you these pieces here and I'll show you the metal that I'm going to be using. Alright, for the small one we're just going to use the small 3/8. That's a little bigger around, but that's not going to hurt. You can always cut it down on the lathe. Now the bigger stamp, we're going to use a little bigger round stock because we want this lip right here. We want this piece right here to rest on that lip on this one. So we have a bigger round press. It's just a little better for when it presses. So we're going to go ahead and get to cutting. We'll cut the big one down and see if we can get him made up first. But I'll have to cut part of this down, about 1 1/8 of this down, so it fits inside of my arbor press. That's going to be the first thing. We want to get about 1 1/8 of this cut down, because that was, remember, the hole that we had drilled in there was about 1 1/8 to 1 1/4 deep. So we want to cut that down. So we'll get that chucked up and get that first. And we'll just set this. This is already set of the 3/8 that we need to go in there. So this is what we'll be using. Need no micrometers or anything for this. Okay, now we got that to where that just fits on there. So we're good here. Now we're going to turn it over and start on the other side. Now this is going to be the side to where the stamp goes on. So we're just going to put this in here, right like so. And now we can start working on this piece over here. I have to get it measured out, so I don't want it too big because we want that stamp to rest up against this piece when we get, after we get it cut. This will be the size that we want to cut it, and we don't want to go any deeper than that right there, so we'll just measure that and from the end down to here, and we'll cut that much down. Okay, it looks to be like about 5/16 of an inch, so we got that marked right there. Now all we're going to do is start cutting it down just the way we did the other one, until we get it down to the roundness of this piece here. Now if we happen to take too much off, of like if we make it too long, we could always grind that end off a little bit to get it right to where we need it for sure. But we got actually a good ways to go before we have it done here. Alright, I got this to where it fits on there really well, and it's resting up against the back, and that's where I wanted it, right up against this piece of metal here. Now it's not going to stay on there, so what I thought I would do is I had some of these small O-rings, real tiny little O-rings, and I was going to cut a groove in this and then slide that O-ring over top of there and let it stick out just enough to where it catches the edge of this. And hopefully we can get it to where it'll just kind of snap on and stay on and pull it off. You should be able to pull it on and off. Now, whether I could do this or not, I don't know. We'll find out. And the only thing we're going to do is we're going to sit here and we're just going to cut a small groove so that O-ring can sit in it. Alright, I cut my little groove and I got my O-ring in there. Now, it goes on there, it snaps on, but it comes right back off. I think because of the air pressure, being that that's a seal and there's no hole in here, it just comes back off. If you put it on, it just wants to push back off. So what I might do is take my my little stamp here and maybe drill a real tiny little hole in there so the air will come out of there. I think that's what I'll do. I'll drill a tiny little hole. I don't think it'll hurt it. It'll be really small. And then we'll try it on there and see if it stays. Because it just wants to pop right back off. I know that's air pressure in there, I guarantee you. So let me get a little hole drilled in. We'll do it in, not crazy about the fish one as much. So we'll drill it in the fish. See how it works. Alright, we got about the smallest drill bit I could possibly find. We'll see if we can get us a tiny little hole in here. Alright, that didn't take much. Tiny little hole. We'll see if that lets the air out. We'll see what happens here. Okay, we got our hole drilled now. Hopefully it'll go up on this thing with no problem. Perfect. It's not coming off or anything. It's staying right on there. It's a little tight, but I guess that's okay. It's not squishing back off. That's exactly what it was. A little bit of air up in there. Wanted to push it back off. Now it's staying on just perfectly fine. I think I could deal with that. I'll put one on. I'll drill a hole in each one of them. It's just a tiny little hole. I don't think it'll hurt anything. So we'll get this thing cleaned up and get it put on the arbor press, and I'll get the holes drilled in the rest of these guys, and we'll see how it presses some leather. We're going to go ahead and drill them all. So that way we don't have to worry about them when we go to put them on. They'll already fit. Gotta be careful putting these things in the vise. Nothing to it. Easy. Alright, here's the piece we had. After cleaning up the other one, there's the piece we got now. And that should fit right in our arbor press. That's what we're going to do right now. I went in the house, got me a piece of leather, and we're going to try to do a couple snaps or stamps, and we're going to see how it works out. I think it's going to work fine, but you never know. Alright, that works in there pretty well. It snapped in there nice. Now we just got to see how it presses. I bring a piece of leather out right here. Let me get it moistened up a little bit. All right, I got me a piece of leather here. Wet it down there and dumped it in a bucket of water. We'll just see how this works out. Hopefully we'll get a good press. And there we have a deer. Nice looking deer. Actually not too bad. So we'll pull this one off. We'll try the fish. Snaps on there pretty good. Snaps on there pretty good. Let's see what the fish looks like now. Now we got us a fish. Pretty nice. And we'll do the bear. The bear's the last one here that I have. I'm sure they have many, many more of them. But we'll do the bear. I think if you had it on a table, it wasn't so, you could get a little more leverage on it to give it a push. And there's your bear. Pretty nice. Not too bad. The only thing I can see right now is I put that wet leather on there. Gonna have to be real careful with that because this piece will be rusting up. So we'll figure something out for that too. Alright, now that we got this one all done, and it works, we're gonna start on this little one here. Now I'm not sure that I have even a rubber band that's small enough to go on that one. If I did, it might have to be cut all the way down through. This might be a little bit harder one. So we're going to get this piece of metal cleaned up and get it chucked up in the lathe and get the end cut down that we need to go into our press, and then we'll work on the other end just like we did the other one. Alright, I got that piece down to where I wanted it, and I took a file and filed this just a little bit of a taper to it, and it goes on, but on that last little tiny bit right there, it sticks. Now it's hard to get off with your fingers, but you could take a pair of pliers if you had to. That should stick it on there, and hopefully a pair of pliers will pull it back off if it gets stuck. But that's, I don't have any rubber bands or anything that small. Eventually down the road we may be able to do something like that, but we got it all turned down, and it does fit on there, and it fits nice and snug. But like I said, I took a file and kind of tapered it a little bit so it wouldn't be tight all the way. So it is hard to get off, but we're going to give it a try. I'm going to take it over to the wire brush, clean it up a little bit, and stick it in the arbor press and give it a shot and see what happens. Alright, we got this one all cleaned up. Now I'm going to throw it up in here and get her tightened down and see how well it works in the press. I think it's going to work better because the stamps are a lot smaller. Now these little stamps, honestly, I got these little stamps because my granddaughter wanted a flower. So I had to get these. That was the only little flower I could find. So we're going to give it a shot on some leather and see how it works. Get you guys up here a little closer. Let's see if we'll see just where our handle's going to reach. And if we got enough to press, which we do, we'll put a flower down here below the bear. Now we got a pretty little flower there. Now those, like I said, I thought those would stamp better. Now, let's see how hard it is to get that thing out. I said we might have to use a pair of pliers, and by the looks of it, that's what I'm going to have to do. And all I got to do is just wiggle it back and forth, and it should come out of there. It's tight in there. So we'll try another one. Ah, we got a moon. We got a moon. Some of them feel like they actually fit tighter than the other ones, but let's try the moon now. Do the moon under the fish here. Give it a good squish. Well, you don't want to go too hard. You see, I went a little too hard and it actually put the square of the thing in there. So let's do another one. We won't do one quite as hard. Much easier, and a nice little moon in there. So it's working. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Well, everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed my arbor press. Don't forget, I'm I got a playlist of all the different attachments I build for this thing. Anytime I do something, add something to it, I'm going to put it into that playlist. That way you can see all of the modifications I've done to the arbor press. So now we can use sockets to press with. We can do stamps, rivets, and snaps. Snaps, rivets, we can use sockets, and we can do stamps. That's pretty good so far, but I think there's a lot more we could do with this, and I'm going to keep going. I think in my next video, I noticed my table, that little thing that you spin in there, is getting a little bit, well, it's getting wet from the leather there, and I think it may rust. So maybe I can come up with another little table on there too. Something maybe a little bit more for leather. But we'll also keep our metal one too. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave me thumbs up, thumbs down. Comment if you'd like. Till next time.